Now the panelists are here. Professor David Aworawo, Professor of International Relations and Strategic Studies at the University of Lagos. Mr. Jide Ologun, legal practitioner, national development advocate, and fellow of the Institute of Leadership Coaching and Strategy, as well as Yemi Adamolekun, Executive Director, Enough is Enough. Well, thank you for showing up. Very good, very kind of you. Now, we have had 3 guests. Mr. Felix Moka of the APC, All Progressives Congress, spokesperson, who has defended the APC in the light of this ADC coalition politics and all of that. But we also had Mr. Chief Ralph Okenwosu, who is the chairman of the ADC, now former chairman of the ADC, who handed over power to the ADC coalition, the new coalition. David Mark, Rauf Agberegbe-Shola, all the people involved in that coalition. And then we had Evans Ufili, who commented on the constitutional amendment process, the constitutional hearings that took place in the last 2 days about what sections of the Constitution should be amended. About 59 bills, 60 bills submitted, 18 new local governments to be presented, state police, women empowerment, 40 new states of the Federation, and all of that. The Yemi Bamidele, who is the person in charge, says all of these will be forwarded to the state local government assemblies in line with Section 9 of the 1999 Constitution. And in the light of that, the decision will be made. So it looks like, we have a lot on our plate. Where do I start from? Let me start with you, Yemi Adamolekun.
I do apologize. Yeah, where do we start from? Mr. Moka was very interesting in his statement because he basically made the point that because it's not yet 4 years, that no one has the right to comment on the performance of the administration, unless I missed that. But that's what I got from what he said, that it's not the end of his constitutionally allowed term, and the president hasn't said if he was contesting or not. He hasn't said if he's contesting or not, but his people are already campaigning on his behalf. There are banners everywhere. He hasn't said they should put it down, that he's distracting him from governance, that he's very interested in doing governance for the next 2 years. But we're fully entered campaign season, and I don't think anybody should try to ignore that for what it is. Now, the point that he's also made, that which I thought was very interesting, he kept talking about how this president has done what no other president has done. He did, and I like the phrase he used, he's doing exactly what Nigerians voted him to do. And I dare say, well, if he was voted, not voted is a separate conversation. But the people who did vote him, I would be surprised. And he should do a poll. I mean, APC is known for polling. But he should do a poll for those who actually voted or party members, if this is what they voted for, if this is the quality of life they voted for, if this is the cost of living they voted for, if this is the insecurity they voted for, if this is the if this is the Nigeria they voted for. And I think it would be interesting if Felix Moka gets the results he thinks or he's saying that he would get. And I think what's also important in what he said was the fact that when you asked him about a one-party state, he went on this thing about even if there are legal provisions that will prevent that, yada, yada, yada. And I'm sorry, it's not a function of the fact that INEC will be told that every other party should not be registered or should be deregistered and only one party will exist. The challenge that we say that it seems like is that there is a deliberate effort by this administration to make it very difficult for any other party to exist. And I dare say the president's comment, I think when he was speaking, I forget what event it was, when he clearly said that he enjoys the fact that the PDP is in disarray. Now, obviously, it's to his benefit and it's to his party's benefit, but I think that's really what is at stake. If either by coercion or by people just simply being afraid of being outside of the fray of power, everybody feels that to find relevance or to ensure that EFCC is not looking for you or to ensure that you can live in peace, that the best way is to come under the, well, it's not the umbrella now, it's the broom, or to come under the, I don't know what the word I'm looking for, but to come into the fold, or as my friends like to say, to kiss the ring. That's the way you will be protected. But there is a fundamental problem with that in what we call a multi-party democracy, and it should be discussed. I mean, APC will deny it, or as they should. But I think for both people in other parties and citizens, it's something that we should engage as where we are. Now, the other, the Ralph Omosu's point about ADC, I mean, I'm sorry. Yes, it's great. I mean, Simon Kolawole has an excellent article today around the unending business of rescuing Nigeria. APC came together as a coalition to rescue Nigeria from PDP. ADC has now come as a coalition with some similar bedfellows to now rescue Nigeria from APC. But what I think is fascinating about these people that want to rescue Nigeria is the largest voting bloc in Nigeria are 18 to 35-year-olds. But there's nobody that's in that age bracket that's part of this rescuing Nigeria mission. And I dare say that I'm wondering what is it that they are selling that is different. Malam El-Rufai, as we saw, was part of the previous rescue mission. Rotimi Amechi was part of the previous rescue mission. David Mark was sitting jejely inside retirement. They went to drag him out. Atiku Abubakar, I don't even know where to even start or end. Then there is Tambuwal, I think was part of the previous rescue mission. Then there's Mr. Peter Obi, who Labour has made very difficult for him to sit in, but he is also interested in rescuing Nigeria, noted. There's Ogbeni Rauf, who was also part of the previous rescue mission. So I'm sitting there watching the names, and I'm saying, what exactly are you people selling?
But Dino Melai is down. And
Is
Dino
he part of them
Melai
too?
is a young man.
Is Dino part
and
of
he
them?
has or rather he has produced a song.
Based on this coalition?
Yes.
Dino Melai is now a benchmark for rescuing Nigeria. 18 to 35. I was clear in my age brackets, very clear. I didn't stutter, Dr. Abati. I was very clear.
Okay.
And
But Dino Melai is a young man, and he wants to rescue Nigeria too.
I said again 18 to 35. But my point is also not to say, again to be clear, that young people have a magic wand. A lot of the problems that we have, people who were in office, from Obasanjo to Buhari, they were all young people when they were in office, when they came into office the first time. So it's not to say that young people are saints or they will wave a magic wand. But I'm saying that for those who want to rescue Nigeria, what are you selling that will be a compelling message enough for those in your largest voting bloc to think of you as an alternative to what we have? I dare say that the only person who young Nigerians seem to believe had something compelling that he sold was Peter Obi. Now, Peter Obi is part of the coalition, but anyway, there are, I think, 5 people who want to run for office in the coalition. So it's also very interesting. There's Peter Obi. Rotimi Amechi has said he wants to run. Atiku Abubakar is perpetually running, so we're not quite sure what he will do this time. And Ogbeni Rauf, as it stands, is there to mobilize the people for the party. But anyway, it's interesting times that we live in, and it'll be interesting to see how this plans out.
Deji Adeyanju is a young man. He's also part of the coalition.
Oh, wait, but I didn't. Sorry, I was looking at the people seated. I did not see. I did not see Deji on stage. He's part of the coalition.
Maybe there are some younger men
foot soldiers
who are also there.
Yeah. You know, okay. Well, let's see. Let's see now when they do their messaging. I think that for me is really beyond rescuing Nigeria. How is the key thing? And on who was the other guest that we had? Oh, constitutional reviews.
Yes, Evans Sufeli.
Yes. Now, it's an interesting process that I didn't engage till quite late. But number one is we waste so much money. You said 5 times. We're now on our 6th term. If I'm not mistaken, ₦1 billion was allocated for this exercise. The Senate did their public hearings over 2 days in the 6 zones, except for Kano, as you mentioned. The House of Rep is going to do their own hearings in 6 zones, but in 2 locations per zone. So that's 12 locations. over the next 2 weeks as well. And then there will now be another national one at the National Assembly. Why are we wasting money and time and energy on these matters? One of the things, but I would say that I think finally we have is a provision for a referendum. And that just helps allow Nigerians to vote. Rather than this song and dance that we're doing around this supposed public hearings and wasting money. But two things I would say on that I think are interesting. Number one, we're still not clear how we want local governments to engage state governments. So they are contradictory, at least the Senate bills that I looked at. They're contradictory terms in the language of the bills around the role of the state and the role of the local government. We cannot be putting a list of local governments in the Constitution. It makes no sense. 774, we now want to add, I don't know, however many more. Then we'll update the Constitution. We want to create a few more local governments, we'll update the Constitution. Creating local governments should be the purview of the states. They're administrative units. They're set up to make it easier for citizens to access governance better and access social services. I will have to give credit to the Southwest because they're the only region that did not ask for local government creation. And it makes sense because if you look at Lagos's history, Lagos created LCDAs and said, you know what, whatever you want to do, we'll make it easier for ourselves. And other Southwest states picked up on it and they've done similar things. However, the Southwest is also funny on the other side of state creation. Oyo State alone wants an Ibadan state and a new Oyo State. State creation is not going to solve any problems. 31 states, 67 states total, haba mana, haba. What do we want to do with them? There are some states, I didn't get budget analysis of state viability because I wanted to share that there are some states that cannot viable on their own, yet we want to add more. Let's add many local governments, not states. Thank you.
Okay. Professor Aworawo, your thoughts on these issues?
Well, let me just begin with the constitutional amendment. Well, there are, when you look at the issues they try to address, many of them are important. State police is important. Women with greater representation is important. Those issues need to be pursued to a logical conclusion. Electoral reform, yes, it's key, it's critical, it's important. But the state creation thing is what I can't make sense of. And it has led to my, asking the question, what is it that informs policy in Nigeria? What is it that informs what people in the executive and people in the legislature want to do? Is it just political expediency or what makes sense? I'm not sure there are more than 5 states in Nigeria that are viable. And like Mr. Ofili said, we should be merging states, not creating more. So anytime I hear about state creation, I wonder, I don't want to use salacious language, our level of, what are we pursuing? How intelligent are we that we want to be going the opposite direction of where we should be headed? It is very concerning. So while I support the amendments, because there are key issues that will be addressed, one way to change society is to change the law. Because if you change the law and people keep to what the law says, then you can change society. So I support it. But state creation, even local governments, I don't see where all of that leads. I think we have enough. And given the fact that local governments are a basis for revenue allocation, if we leave it to state, of course, it becomes unwieldy. People just create so as to make money. So the central legislature taking charge of that is important. If it were just something that states, once you give money to states and that takes care of it, that will have been. But the fact that it's a basis for revenue allocation. Like Lagos has LCDA, so many of them, but Lagos collects money for the 20 local governments, yes, that the Constitution recognizes. And that's how it is. So maybe they should just leave things as they are. Any state that thinks that it needs smaller units for effective administration can go ahead to do it the way Lagos has done and other states in the Southwest. Then coalition and the rest. Well, I'm of the view that people are free to associate themselves. We are free to come together to, express themselves politically. There's nothing wrong with that. In any case, that is even how APC came to be anyway, and just in recent memory. So I'm surprised that anybody is, raising alarm regarding the emergence of ADC. I can't make a lot of comments yet. We don't have the manifesto yet. We don't have, For me, I look at, what individuals are able to do. I don't really, when you are young, yes, you have greater energy, you're able to do a whole lot, but many youths in Nigeria who have occupied positions haven't distinguished themselves. A better Edu case is there, several other cases is there. They've not shown greater commitment to national development. Neither have they shown greater honesty. In fact, we have young people that even don't want to work. Your content, that's what they are facing. So, but again, these old people who have come out to try to rescue. Many of them, when you look at the antecedents, it's also not, defined. But let's see how it goes. Political decision making is a risk. Sometimes somebody you think will not perform, will perform. Sometimes somebody you think will solve all the problems. Buhari will all the noise. After 8 years, to use the language of President Tinubu, Olule. We have nothing to show for the 8 years. The 8 years that we were set back. So let's just wait and see. But for me, it's exciting. And the other positive is that it is now, galvanizing the government. You now can't go to sleep and think election will just come and then pick it. They can win the thing from APC if they organize themselves well. Dr. Abacha, I was telling you about the last time we were assessing the government, and I said 60%. I said I got 23 messages, and only 2 were favorable to President Buhari. Now I've got close to 100 different comments to say, is that how you score your people in your school? That if you score like that, everybody will pay first class. The man does not deserve more than 20%.
Which man?
That is President Buhari.
But was it not under Buhari that you people got...
President Tinubu.
President Tinubu,
yes.
Was it not under President Tinubu that you people got your unpaid allowances? And you came here and you were happy.
The comments are...
Nigerians are very difficult to please.
Wait.
They paid you your arrears.
Relax.
This
is not from the academia.
But you should tell those people that President Tinubu paid you money.
Would you let him finish?
That is infinitesimal.
Exactly.
Which is infinitesimal.
Look, that thing was actually put by Buhari in 2023 budget. We dragged on 25, paid it. So we acknowledge him for that.
You should be grateful.
It is infinitesimal. It is infinitesimal. Look, they even slashed away about 40 billion our money. They paid us 50. We were entitled to 90. So even when we say thank you, the thank you will be with shrill voice. With shrill voice.
Get more.
Now, no, the point I'm making is this. Now, this is the issue. The hunger in the land, I think the people in government are not taking it seriously. Yeah. It will have tremendous impact. If you see the anger some people used to write the thing to me, how can you say 60% with this hunger? Have hunger not reach your house? All that kind of thing. So Yemi was talking about poll. I have something that looks like a poll already. Yeah. Only 2 out of almost 100 were favorable to 60%. They say 20%, 25%, 50%. So the hunger in the land is, if these guys organize themselves very well, they could knock off APC. And this is just the clear thing. So it's a wake-up call, and we are happy that at least it's bringing a frenzy to the political, this thing. Then finally, what's the third issue now again?
Constitutional amendment.
No, I've talked about that.
ADC and APC.
ADC, APC. Okay. Yeah. So those are that is it. For me, the movement towards a one-party state, we're thinking of course that one we now have a different direction as far as that is concerned, and and that's it. And Mr. Ofili, I love his submission that when you're asking about Neoma State, for instance, because it's from that area, he didn't say, we must create because that's how we normally do in Nigeria. You condemn everybody else when it comes to but that our own has to be created. So he spoke like, a true intellect.
Not intellectual. As a homeboy. Evans Ufeli spoke as a homeboy.
As a homeboy. Yes. So,
Mr. Ologun,
thank you very
your
much.
turn. Yes.
So let's start from the political angle. If you understand the politics of Nigeria, particularly from the platform of the likes of former governor of Ekiti State, Ayodele Fayose, even the hunger in the land is a brilliant opportunity for political success. Because if you
Stomach
know
infrastructure.
Yeah, because if you know politicians very well, they galvanize this hungry towards elections. They vote for them and they ride on. You see, I was in the same space with former governor of Rivers State, Amechi. And he came on stage to tell everybody that is it not Nigerians? You go in there, you do what you like, you come back, they say, Shebi is just 4 years. And let's vote for 4 years. That, we are like that. And you know how he speaks. And so the first perception now is the confusion people even have with those seeking to rescue Nigeria. Because the same party you are trying to wrestle power from, majority of you are from that party or you've been in that party before. And people are asking.
You are quoting Amici. I hope you know that Wike says Amici is from a poor background. Though.
I'm telling you about politicians.
What does that have to do with anything?
And doctor, don't be surprised.
Why are we quoting Wiki?
Don't be surprised.
Wike said so.
And why is that important for the conversation?
Dr. Bati,
Okay, just for him
don't
to
be
know.
surprised if in the next dispensation, Amechi and Wike are forming a party to rescue Nigeria. We are talking about politicians. You see, this is not the first time, some of them are coming out to say we are rescuing. And the main point is that we are yet to differentiate between governance and politics. So we just put everything together, put it inside democracy. And that takes me to the point of the Constitution amendment. Fine, state police, women inclusion, this and that. But when you talk about expanding the scope of the states we have in the country, how many states are viable? In the corporate environment, if there is a bank, for instance, and you start discussing having more branches in the boardroom, it should be branches driving prosperity, not branches in poverty. But again, going into the minds of politicians, why are some of them so keenly interested for sustainability of political career? When some of them leave the National Assembly, they want to go back and wrestle to be governors of their states and things like that. And why don't you look at how to reposition Nigeria for effective and transformational governance? How? Section 4 of the Nigerian Constitution 1999 as amended says clearly that the National Assembly has the power to make laws for the peace, orderliness, and good government in Nigeria. So why don't you look at those laws that we make our economy vibrant again? For instance, look at Section 16, or you take it from 14 to 18 and say, even though some of these clauses are not justiciable, you cannot sue the government on it. How can we remove that veil and make sure the citizens can sue when you don't walk the talk of your political promises? Why not focus on that? Why not focus on what Barrister Ofeli mentioned brilliantly, that, okay, instead of having more states, can we revert to regionalism? Since we already have these geopolitical zones, how can we maximize the resources we have? I was engaging a governor at a time, and I pointed it clearly to him that, sir, Your Excellency, you are talking of geopolitical zones. Why don't you begin to think about geo-economic zones in Nigeria? And the economic performance will be the driving force behind your political activities. He just laughed over it. You see, so National Assembly, thank you, all the more states, more local government. And why are some interested in more local government? The tenure of President Bola Tinubu has been able to achieve the local government autonomy. So a lot of money will be going to that grassroots cadre of government directly from the federation account. And I think that is an interesting destination for many politicians. You see, so it is hardly about the people. And again, for ADC, and like Prof mentioned, APC came together in 2013 to push PDP out of power in this manner. But it was easy for APC to synchronize. And that synchronization is what many are still wondering how it should be achieved in ADC. Because you have many political tigers that are really gunning for the top. So who is going to step down for who? But then it's a wake-up call for the present government of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to wake up and realize that it's all about governance and less about politics. I was reading a very vital complaint that from the days of the removal of fuel subsidy, we've had more allocations to states, so more funds for the state. Have we experienced the reflection of positive encounters amongst the people?
That's not a Tinubu problem, though.
Exactly. It's more.
I'll defend him on that one. That's not a Tinubu problem.
We know, but it's all about governance. Because I was reading a report, Doctor, talking about the South adopting President Tinubu as the candidate of APC. Fantastic. And when you begin to now read another 4 governors, who are the 4 governors? Some of them just decamped to APC. And the same thing we are saying about politicians, even the National Assembly. You see, so what laws are you going to make for Nigeria to ensure that we return to the path of prosperity? And I think this is a crucial point we know. And the funds involved in the public hearing and all these things, and even managing the change process, it's another thing entirely. So I think our leaders should think through some of these issues they engage. And
Mr. Ologun, in the context of realities, current realities, President Tinubu and the APC, we need to lock down the South, from Southwest to Southeast to South-South, because it looks like in the North, the APC is losing its grip there.
For now.
If they manage to grab a section of the South from him, that would be a very serious problem.
And I think that is the...
And if Peter Obi of the Obedient Movement decides to go alone, and the Southeast goes with him, then President Tinubu will not have that block. So, but it's early days yet. We can just...
early days for you, Doctor, not for politicians.
No, but to the point you've made, though.
It's done for politicians. They are in 2027 already.
But the point you've made that...
We rarely got it wrong. Yeah. We almost always get it right. It's politicians who
we are doing permutations.
Yes.
No, but the point you've made at the permutation, which is key, is that if the same thing happens as in 2023, that the opposition is split, it would invariably likely favor Tinubu. So if Peter Obi goes on his own and ADC has their own candidates, then we are back to square one.
Yeah. But if Peter Obi and the Obedience, if they stay with the coalition,
and they make him,
they will have divided the South.
Yeah.
And then the North will be together. That's one of the things.
That is why the issue of fielding Shettima as vice presidential candidate is still...
Okay,
there are some adjustments going on in the cycle on both sides. But where is the interest of the citizens? And that is my concern.
Who cares?
Don't worry. We are here. All of us will do it. We'll be analyzing Nigerian politics for more than 3 decades. And we will do it now. And we'll still be here after this time out. Let's take a short break now. And when we return, the program will continue. Stay with us. Welcome back to This Day Live, the Sunday talk show here on the Arise News Channel. Legendary Nigerian goalkeeper Peter Rufai has been hailed as a giant of football in the wake of his death at the age of 61 this past week after a prolonged illness. Affectionately known as Dodo Mayana, some people call him Apinam. Rufai helped the Super Eagles win the African Cup of Nations in 1994 and also represented his nation at the FIFA World Cup in 1994 and 1998. He enjoyed a stellar international career, earning 65 caps between 1983 and 1998. The late goalkeeper's safe hands, commanding presence, and calm demeanor made him a standout performer for Nigeria's golden generation of the 1990s. In the meantime, family, friends, and associates of Liverpool and Portugal forward Diogo Jota and his brother, Andre Silva, have been mourning their untimely death in an auto crash in Spain. Diogo was 28, while his brother died aged 25. Diogo Jota's death came just 3 weeks after getting married to his high school sweetheart, Ruth Cardoso, on June 22, 2025, just 11 days before his death. Jota was widely regarded for his tenacity, goal-scoring instinct, and versatility on the pitch. Still talking football, Nigeria's Falcons will begin their quest for a record-breaking 10th Women's Africa Cup of Nations title when they face Tunisia in their Group B opener this evening in Casablanca, Morocco. And I believe that match is ongoing. This clash will mark the first fixture of what's being called Mission X, Nigeria's ambitious campaign to retain continental supremacy after losing their crown to South Africa in 2022. In the build-up to this evening's encounter, Falcons coach Justin Madugo has warned his players against complacency, emphasizing the improved standard of Africa women's football. Professor Aworawo, you are the football aficionado on this program. Let's start with you, as briefly as possible.
Well, I has go out to the family of Peter Rufai. Peter Rufai was an outstanding player who, was Nigeria's goalkeeper for so many years. He came to symbolize keeping the gates, for the late 80s and then the 90s. Our sympathies to the family and, of course, the football family as well in Nigeria. Diogo Jota and his younger brother died a few days ago, buried yesterday. Our hearts go out to their families too. Jota died of accident. He was returning to Liverpool to go and join his team. And apparently something went wrong with his car. And the accident they say was overtaken or something. And then it didn't burst into flame and they couldn't survive it. Our hearts go out to them too, and of course, the football family. For the women who are playing, yes, the match started at 5 o'clock. It's about halftime now. Nigeria is up by 2 goals. We expect that Nigeria should qualify from the group, and then the Mission X. We also hope that will be achieved this time. But yeah, yes, just like they have pointed out, the standard has improved across Africa. Zambia is doing well. Cameroon doing well too. Morocco has risen and all. So Nigeria needs to really, avoid complacency. It's just declared this thing. They had some, matches before this on friendlies. Against Ghana, they did well, and the other ones they did. But against
Cameroon,
against Cameroon, they did well. So, against Portugal, they didn't do well.
It was a draw.
It was a draw, but it was if that game had been a knockout, Portugal would have knocked Nigeria out. It was chances of like 7-1. Or 7 chances to,
Proof.
We
hope what we want to win this.
We hope that the coach has noticed, because that's what friendlies are for, the flaws and address them so that Division S can be a reality.
We want these guys to win. They are the reigning champions. They won 9 out of 11. Nigeria has been in every semi-final up to this moment. We lost just 2, Abi, to Equatorial Guinea and South Africa. Please wish our guests well.
And in the past, we've performed well, and it's our expectation that this time around the crown that was dropped in South Africa will be brought back to Nigeria, hopefully. But they need to put in their best. But like Prof revealed to us, we are upscale as the match is ongoing right now. And condolences to the families of Dodo Mayena and to Tiogo. God will comfort the families, And I think the accident that claimed the life of Tiogo should be investigated. Some are interested in it, Reportedly, it was a Lamborghini. The tire busted and the car busted into flames. It's quite unfortunate with a brother, such a brilliant career, 28, 25. But we express our condolences to them.
Okay. Yemi Adamolekun, I understand you've been watching football.
My condolences to the families, and I wish the girls well.
That's all you have to say?
That's all.
Football, we're talking about WAFCON. Nigerian women playing football. Please support our ladies.
I wish them well. What else should I say? I wish them well.
Okay. Thank you very much, Yemi Adamolekun. Thank you, Professor Aworawo, and thank you, Mr. Jide Ologun. You've been watching This Day Live, the Sunday talk show, here on Arise News. I'm Ruben Abati from our entire team here in Lagos. It's bye for now, and thank you very much for watching.